Hello, welcome back to another Pen Talk. Thanks for tuning in. Today, I want to do something a little different. I want to talk about pens that I have that have broken. So you look in front of you and you see a pen that you may or may not recognize. It's a Wing Sung 659. I did a video on it almost 2 years ago. But when I did my video, it was a transparent cap and not that green one I have on there now. And you may ask, where's the transparent cap? Well, it's right here. And that finial just broke right off. I did nothing. There wasn't any attempt to try to take it apart or do anything else. It just broke because over time, whatever pressure was exerted, those threads create a concentration point, a weak point, and it broke. So luckily I had a few other ones, so I took this green cap off and put it on here, and it's been on here for at least a year. That ink is Iroshizuku Murasaki Sibiku. And much to my amazement, when I uncapped this pen, it wrote first time. It seems to be fairly well saturated there. You got a little bit of ink creep, but considering this has been inked up for 2 years with the same ink and haven't done anything to it, that's a real testament of a pen, especially one that cost under $2. So you may doubt what I said, but here we go. I mean, that's impressive. I've had other pens after a few months, the ink becomes saturated and they won't write, or they may just, ink may stop the flow, but this one certainly didn't do that. So you have to give credit where credit's due. Even though the cap broke, the pen still writes well with another cap. So you may ask, what other pens has this happened to? This is a Jinhao 992, and I probably have about 20 of these, and this just broke sitting in the drawer. Again, you know, they may have over-tightened this nut that holds that whole thing together, but it broke. I could probably glue it back together again and none the wiser. Nice, you can see that cap liner that they put in there, that these nibs are known for not drying out, but again, when you pay $1.50 for a pen that's mass-produced, machine-made, no real human intervention, occasionally you're going to get issues like this. You know, who knows, there could have been a defect in the mold, there could have been some type of impurities in the resin, it could have cooled too quickly or whatever that could have created a condition that eventually ended up at breaking. But since I have a number of these, I'll make a Franken pen out of it if I want to write with it. So you may ask, do pens break in other ways? And my answer is yes. This is a Wing Sung 627. And in this situation, I'll take some responsibility for it. I dropped it. It only fell a couple feet. But my thought is, it was capped and everything, but my thought is it hit the leg of the chair at just the right spot to break off these threads. You'll notice a common theme here. When you have threads like this in a material, the threads create weak points or stress concentration points. So this is unexpected. And yeah, I could probably glue it back together again, but it's a nice pen, but it's not worth the effort. So it'll go into my, what I would call buyer beware category, but you know, things break. I just recently had my German furnace repaired, and it wasn't an inexpensive repair, and it was that or no hot water or heat, so we do what we have to do. But you know, as I was talking to the plumber, we all agree that mechanical things can break. Now here's a Delight pen, which is similar in weight and construction. And when you uncap this one, you'll notice that it's all metal here. So they've avoided that potential weak point with the plastic threads in the Wing Sung by making this piece all metal. What I've liked about these pens, even though I'm not a fan of metal sections, it weights the pen towards the nib and makes it a more comfortable writing style. Of course, this smaller one needs to be posted to fit well in the hand, but you know, I learned to like them, and they had good nibs. And it is a Pen BBS pen. It's the 456 Dawn, and I've used this pen. I've refilled it at least once, so it's been around. But when I recently went to use it, I noticed it's pretty well empty of ink, so I went to put ink in it and noticed that, wow, the cap band just fell off. So I've looked at this under a loupe very closely, and it appears that there was just a few spots of glue right at the top of this band. You can see a little bit of residue left in there. So it looks like the glue that they used, they didn't quite put enough of it to keep it secure. So this pen, I'm going to do what I did. I did a complete analysis of the clear one of these that I have, where I take it all apart. You know, we got the right wrench to fit there and everything else. So I'll put a reference to that video in here, but just to show you that no pen is perfect. I have over 50 Pen BBS pens, and this is the only one that's ever had any type of issue like this with it. So I think that's a pretty good odds, and this is an easy fix. I'll put some nice clear glue in there, and we're good to go. Lastly, we're going to look at the Kaiko Edge. Now, those of you who have watched any videos, mine, Wasky Squirrels, and a few others, have known that this cap has a tendency to crack. And I could ask Bobby to do something to fix it, but that's fine. The pen really is still functional because it has a nice cap liner inside of it, so it doesn't dry out, and the cap still stays on securely because of the way it works. And that's why some people talked about there was stress from either posting or, you know, whatever, but that cap liner really takes that stress away from the cap. And this just cracked by having it sitting upright in my pen stand, and then I just picked it up one day and said, whoa, look at that. So my theory on this one, I was a materials engineer and I did do injection molding as part of my training. So this is Makrolon. It's a thermoplastic that has fiberglass threads in it, and it gives it kind of the weight and the feel, and you know, makes it feel a little bit different than a normal pure plastic would. And that's what a lot of times fillers are used for that. But when you injection mold that type of plastic with a filler in it, you want to make certain you have turbulent flow that makes those threads all get cross-linked and therefore add more strength to it. If you have laminar flow and those threads get aligned, then you can have weak points from the threads where they're not adding support for the material. So that's my theory on, they may not have designed the mold properly, because there's been a lot of incidences of this cracking occurring. And therefore, you know, just sitting over time, because, you know, there'll be stress in any material because it was a liquid at one time, now it's a solid, and it can crack. As we saw on the threads in the finial, it'll crack along a weak spot or whatever. It doesn't necessarily need stress on it to do the cracking. So hopefully you've kind of enjoyed this short look at pens that have broken under my watch. And, you know, to me, it's part of the learning experience. I certainly have a lot of pens, so, you know, I can live with a few of them not being functional. And as an engineer, I just enjoy seeing how designs work over time, and it was interesting to see how Moonman made their change to the similar pen to the Wing Sung, where they put metal instead of plastic there. And that may explain why you do find metal bits in a lot of pens where other pens may have plastic bits. And I also think that a machined acrylic has less internal stress in it because the acrylic is poured as a liquid, and there may be a lot of additives to it, but it's a temperature, and it's just a chemical reaction that makes it a solid, versus where you have a thermoplastic injection molded where it actually cools inside of a mold. So enough of the technical talk. Hopefully you have pens that don't break. Hopefully you enjoy writing with them and take a lot of pleasure in putting ink on paper. So we're at the end of this video, so thank you for watching. May you have many great experiences in your life and enjoy all of them. Until the next video, bye for now.